Sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, is a sudden and silent medical disorder that can happen to any infant, even an infant who seems perfectly healthy. According to the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, SIDS is the leading cause of death among babies between a month and a year of age. But 90% of SIDS deaths occur within the first 4 months of life. More than 2,000 babies died of SIDS in 2010, the last year for which the statistics are available. And slightly more boys die of SIDS than do girls. And the cases seem to increase during the colder months, but can happen at any point in the year.
Now, SIDS is also something called crib death or cot death because it typically happens during the time frame of when the baby is sleeping. Cribs themselves don't cause SIDS, but the baby's sleep environment can influence sleep-related causes of death.
Now, experts say one cause of SIDS is putting your baby to sleep improperly or allowing your infant to sleep with another infant. No matter how many times it's done without an issue, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe, and one family knows that pain all too well.
Coroner Bo Clark notices a troubling trend. More infants killed while sharing a bed, either suffocated by blankets and sheets or when a relative rolls over on top of them.
Ironically enough, I've gone into several of these scenes, these death scenes, where there's been a crib that's right there next to the bed, and the baby just happened to be sleeping in the bed.
In 2012, 7 infants died due to an unsafe sleeping environment. In 2013, there were 8 such deaths, and then last year that number rose to 15. Already this year, 3 babies have lost their lives because they were not properly put to bed. Traumatic deaths that Clark says are 100% preventable.
Certainly, as much information as we can get out there to the public and say don't do it, the better, and hopefully our number will go to 0.
Pediatrician Steven Sanchez says parents must resist the urge to bring baby into a bed, sofa, or recliner.
We actually encourage what we call room sharing, where the baby actually sleeps in the same room as the parents, but not in the same bed or the same sleeping surface as the parents.
Some argue that babies sleep better while sharing a bed and that the bond encourages breastfeeding.
The theory is that if the baby is more readily available to the mom, it would make her more likely to succeed in breastfeeding because she wouldn't have to get up to get the baby. But there's a lot of ways you could arrange the sleeping environment by putting the baby in a bassinet, a crib, or one of those designed co-sleepers where the baby is attached to the bed but on a different, safer sleeping surface from the parent that makes them just as accessible.
For low-income families, Sanchez suggests borrowing a crib, buying one secondhand, or applying for monetary assistance. Even in a crib, babies should sleep alone on their backs without blankets, loose sheets, or stuffed toys.
Now, just last year, a new campaign got underway to help curb the unnecessary death of infants in bed with a strong baby message. The ad says it's time more babies become strong babies. Now, while co-sleeping isn't always a good fit, many moms and dads say that sleeping with your baby forms an unbreakable bond and that there is a safe way to do it. The blog Mama Natural says that co-sleeping can reduce nighttime separation anxiety. It could also result in more sleep for baby and mom because mom doesn't have to get out of bed to feed or comfort the baby. Now, as we mentioned in the story, it makes for easier nighttime nursing, which also helps maintain a good milk supply. And she says it helps working moms get more time with the baby.
Well, clearly opinions are all over the board, and there are very passionate people on both sides. But one woman hopes to combine the best of both worlds. She promises that a new product of hers provides parents peace of mind while also keeping the baby safe.
Okay, guys.
Erin Casadente keeps watch over her 5 kids.
Look at your brother. Hey, buddy.
Safety is her priority, especially with her newest addition, James.
He's just been the easiest kid. I couldn't ask for an easier, happier little guy.
Like other parents, Erin has had to decide where her baby will sleep.
Babies are kind of hardwired to be close to their mom at night.
She's chosen to keep James beside her.
So he would sleep over there, and the cover would be down. There would be no pillow near him.
But nurse researcher Jennifer Daring says sleeping with your children isn't without risk.
Approximately 4,000 babies die of sleep-related infant death every year.
A recent study shows nearly 74% of deaths in babies less than 4 months old occurred in a bed-sharing situation. Now, Daring and her team are developing an infant sleep pod to keep babies safe. It's called the Sleep Guardian 360.
So we have the ability to put people up into space, keep them safe and warm in a vacuum, and bring them back down to earth, yet we can't keep babies safe next to their parents in bed.
This 3D printed model shows how the pod works.
You take the baby and you put it in underneath the bridge. It's one directional so that the parents can't put the baby in the wrong way. The bridge itself will protect the baby's airspace, and the pod itself will contain the baby so the baby can't escape.
If a blanket or pillow falls on the bridge, or if the baby is in a dangerous position, an alarm alerts parents. The sleep pod can be used anywhere. The sofa is the most dangerous place for infants.
When they're young, their neck muscles aren't developed enough to be able to lift their head away from the crack, and so they suffocate in the side of the couch.
Kimmy, you want to sit up?
Giving moms like Erin more peace of mind.
The Owl Night Sleeper is designed for infants up to 6 months, the most critical period for infant deaths. Jennifer says the pod also allows dads to come back into bed without fear of rolling onto their babies. She hopes to have the pod available for parents by the end of this year.
Technology working for us.
That's right.
Liking that. Well, it's not only infants who have a tough time falling asleep, as many parents know all too well. It doesn't end once they begin walking and talking. As a matter of fact, for some, it gets even worse. Coming up next, how to deal with what some are calling the bedtime shenanigans. You know, the up, down, up, down, up, down. And why a young child's rest, well, all of ours, for that matter, really, is all about timing.
Knowing everything we do about sleeping patterns in children, researchers have raised the question, does school start too early? We'll dig into it. But first, it is time for Sean to give us our first clue in today's Search for Stryker. Sean?
All right, guys, so your first clue I actually find very interesting. The man this town was named after, he never actually lived here. He just owned the land for a few years. All right, so that was clue number 1. I still got 2 and 3 coming up. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.